The networking and talking that happens on the floor throughout the entire event might be more valuable than going and coming home with a trophy.
I'm the #1 champion for the competitions. Like, I want everybody to do all of them, but at the same time, that's not the whole of WFCT. There's so much more to it than competitions, and I want everyone to have that experience.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Born to Tint Podcast with my brothers. I'm Ricky. I'm glad to be here with my big brother, Josh.
What's going on, everybody? Today we had a very special guest, had a very fun conversation with Sarah Bauder, competition coordinator with WFCT. We had a really fun conversation. Competition's less than 90 days away. You're not going to want to miss this conversation.
Fruit. Prize money. So obviously that was a really cool announcement.
Yeah.
Everything being doubled up.
Yep.
So I didn't even know this. So everything got doubled?
First place.
Shows you who follows WFCT's page and who doesn't. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything doubled up.
I definitely follow it. I'm just not on social media as much as you. I'm working.
You're already registered too. I
Yeah.
don't know how you didn't know.
Yeah, I know. I saw the email.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't do that stuff. No, either do I. And Michelle does all that. And you guys gave me quite the scare to begin with when we went to go register. Because all of a sudden she almost had everyone registered, and she kept timing out, when she kept getting mad at me because I was collecting the emails and all the information to give to her to put in, and she timed it like twice. So this third time she was like, "Flat glass is out. What do I do?" I'm like, "Well, first off, just hit register with whatever you have in right now, just to secure those spots." And then that was like about a 12 to 18 hour period of me wondering like, I hope that this is just like an initial sellout because they know they want to see what their numbers are first, and they're going to add more spots. And then when you called me back, I was like, oh, okay, thank God.
We definitely have to tweak things just to make sure we don't oversell.
Yeah.
Because, it's internet, it's going to glitch. So
Yeah. And then with the competition time and stuff, I couldn't imagine planning all this stuff. I don't think people really realize what goes into any of these competitions when it comes to setting them up, because you guys have been working on this since the beginning of the year. Pretty much, right?
We basically start like at the end of the last show. We wrap up the last show. We say the good, the bad, the ugly of the last show. And then we're like, okay, what are we doing next year? We start planning literally less than a month after the last event.
That makes sense. That's a lot.
You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, our other shows too, we plan years out. Like, we're planning shows for 2026, 2027. Like, you have to plan.
Yeah, I've come to realize that, I guess, the more shows I've went to and then expanded out, went to the other shows that are the other competitions popped up now, WFR, Tinner Battles, all those different competitions. You see what kind of goes into the background, because you'll have, I know Cash with the last WFR, when they finished it, it was like a month or two after. Now they did run a competition really close to the last one to separate the dates, which I thought was smart. There's no reason to have everyone all jumbled up at the same time.
Yeah.
Installers can only do so much. Owners can only take so much time off to go to these events. But like him, like walking the venue and then actually planning all that stuff out, getting all the name, like I tip my hat. And then let alone you have to deal with a bunch of tinners. Yeah. So that
that doesn't
That's icing on the cake. Yeah.
A clash of egos, should I say. What are the other changes that are going to be happening this year? What can you divulge that hasn't been released? Like, and I guess I'm going with this question is like the meetings. Are they going to be mandatory this year?
So the meetings are not mandatory. They're just strongly recommended.
Okay.
It's hard when we do them the day before the event, because then we're forcing people to flight a day early, hotel room a day early. That's kind of hard to ask of people. But yeah, there's definitely going to be information in the meetings that you don't want to miss. And if you don't have a connection with someone, then you're going to want to be there.
Yeah.
I like that. I think it's good because in the past it used to be really hard. Like, you had to be there or you're disqualified, and people had flight issues. And at the end of the day, like, if you don't get the rules, and it might cost you by just something similar, like not putting your sticker on the door or whatever it might be that you need to be at the rule meeting for. That's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't give anybody an unfair advantage. If anything, it gives them a disadvantage. So it's on you to be there.
Well, I look at it both ways. I understand, like, not making mandatory. If you don't show up and you don't read the rules, that's your problem. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a lot of things that I technically do during competition. Like, I memorize the measurements of the window. So if it's the same window, my pattern's cut almost to a T. I'm ready to go instead of pulling my film while I'm competing. I'm trying to save as much time as possible. It doesn't say I can't do it. It doesn't say to do it. So I take advantage of what I know I'm allowed to do that's not going to get me disqualified or make me lose points. So, like, if you're not going to be there to ask the questions, or you're not going to actually read through the rules and know exactly where you stand on firm ground, that's on you. But the opposite side of it, if you make a mandatory meeting, it's like you're going to give a proposal for a job. You're going to show up late to that? No, your likelihood of closing that job just went down the gutter.
Yeah.
And that's what I actually love about WFCT rules is like, we have to do a lot of things that people will bitch and complain that's not conventional, because that doesn't happen. But it's like, correct. We don't do that usually. So now we're all required to do this one thing that we usually don't do, to where it's now we're all on common ground.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to flat glass, pulling the rubbers or cutting the rubbers. Anyone who says they're not pulling the rubbers in the field, they're lying, or they are cutting them off and they just avoid saying it because they don't want to be ridiculed by people who are saying you should be pulling your rubbers now. Even on non-conventional rubber seal windows that you do cut the rubbers off, I'll have those conversations with people like, oh yeah, we never cut rubbers. I'm like, yeah, sure you don't. Yeah, you don't say it out loud, but on the job, if you know what type of window it is and you can trim the rubber, you trim the rubber, and then it helps improve your install. So, but making it to where everyone's got to install that window with the rubbers like that, no one does it. So it's not a common practice. So you're putting your skills to the test. Can you pull off the unconventional install and do it in a manner where you're competing against other top tier installers in a time frame? Good luck. Do it. Like I've always enjoyed that. And from there, like the new windows that you guys, new-ish windows that you guys released, I'm dying to see the rules come out to see how we have to either. Marcus's thought was that we would have to go behind the window. And that was my first thought too, but then I really thought about it. I have a feeling that we're gonna have to cut against it. You're finally going to have a metal on glass cut line. Judges can actually judge your cuts now, because I don't leave a gap on my windows when I install. You can't judge my cut because you don't see my cut.
Yeah.
Now you have to see multiple cut lines. And I'm only curious, is there going to be extended time?
You'll find out when you get there.
Yeah. Hey, it plays into my strong suit. So I know it'll make him sweat more, because he's now got to do 3 panels in the same time frame, if not maybe 5 minutes extra. I could see it going up to 20 minutes in the first round. Well, you guys can't go beyond that.
You're really trying.
No, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it logically.
Yeah.
You have 48 people competing, or saying that 64 people competing, 20 minutes a person per round. Like we're only there for so many days.
Yeah.
You can only give so much time, because the show only starts at one time, ends at one time. So
we did add extra show floor hours this year, though. We go from 1 to 7 this year.
Okay.
First 2 days. Not necessarily. We have other fun stuff happening on the floor. It's not just about competition. But yeah.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited for the change of like the curveball, especially with the angled cuts. Like cutting your corners is going to really matter. There's going to be like, I have the feeling this first round or this first go around with these sets of windows is going to come down to, did you finish? Awesome. Then I think judging will be a lot easier this year. I think things are going to have to stand out, or will stand out, because you're going to have to rush. You're going to have to be quick, and you're going to have to make sacrifices. And the people that are okay with the sacrifices are going to be like, I hope I don't lose too many points on that, and we'll see how the cards fall.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it.
All right, I'll get away from the competition questions. Has there been a keynote speaker announced yet, or is that coming?
So we have a highlight speaker, Brent Gleeson. He is a former Navy SEAL, best-selling author. He's going to be coming in as a motivational speaker.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. This is obviously my 3rd year coming to the event. And just the capacity of speakers, we had Shaun White, and then we had Gary Vee. Now we have Brent Gleeson. Like, it's just a cool, like seeing who it is. They're in different industries than you guys, which I think is kind of relatable in some ways. And you have to pull from it. Like whenever they're speaking, you have to take those pieces out and apply it to your business instead of someone that is an installer. And he's saying, this is exactly what I do. And you're going to go home and copycat that. Yep. I think it's interesting to take what these motivational speakers have to say and apply it in your own ways. So I think it'll be really good.
Oh, is his book Embrace to Suck?
He has Embrace to Suck. He has 10 Ways to Embrace Change. He has quite a few books out there. Yeah, but yeah, Embrace to Suck is a good one.
I'll go ahead and
I'll probably listen to everything before we go and start consuming this content.
Yeah,
that's awesome. No, I think it's great to have people that are coming at different. I think we had Mike Rowe even a couple years ago. Yeah. Like that I missed Gary Vee last year, which kills me. Especially, I've got his V friends stacked up right here, and I'm the one that missed it.
I even called you, and I was like, "Are you coming?" You're like, "No, I'm not going to make it. We got a big job." I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Everything he said is things you've already said. So it's
good.
And I've
seen him speak plenty of times. I've been to VCon. I've I've actually done a bunch of Zoom calls with him where I've got to ask him like one-on-one questions.
Yeah.
So it was just like that was the one year that was like, damn, I can't believe I'm really not going. But I'm excited to be back this year for sure. The thing I'm really excited about rule change wise was only 2 categories.
That was last year.
Well, I know, but this will be my first time experiencing it.
Yeah.
As far as like being able to spend more time actually going around the show and listening to more of the speakers, because in the past competing in multiple events has taken up a ton of time.
To be honest,
I've only ever done 2, so I guess I'm still doing 2 this year. Dang,
and
I'm not getting any extra time.
It didn't change. I was still running around.
You've done 3 before though.
I was still running around. I thought I was gonna have extra time. I mean, I guess I probably did have a little extra time, but you still don't have extra time with 2 competitions because there's always something happening constantly.
And I thought about fighting for it, letting the installers do more than 2 divisions, but I went to WFR. Fernando Sainz did every single division he could. And the poor guy he wants to. Obviously, he's doing it because he wants to. But watching him do that and run himself into the ground, he won in a few of them. So kudos. Yeah. But at the same time, like at what cost? Like you're stretching yourself so thin. You don't have time for networking. You don't have time for sessions. You don't have time for just hanging out with your friends.
That's kind of where I was getting with it is like the networking and talking that happens on the floor throughout the entire event. Might be more valuable than going and coming home with a trophy, like at the end of the day.
I'm the number 1 champion for the competitions. Like I want everybody to do all of them, but at the same time, that's not the whole of WFCT. There's so much more to it than competitions. And I want everyone to have that experience.
Yeah.
No, I agree. No, reluctantly. Yeah, it's just the auto. This will be my first time not competing in auto.
Yeah.
So, but I'm okay with it because I know that me, Marcus and Josh will have fun doing decorative. That is also another thing I haven't checked the website in a minute. Because I know in the past, the very first year you had to submit projects. Last year, I think there was only 4 people that signed up. So those were the 4 people that competed. Has there been more? How many people have signed up for decorative?
So the portfolio depends on how many teams sign up. Because we do it now, we've changed the decorative competition to where it's just teams install on the first day and then we do people's choice throughout the event. Just depending on how many teams we get in is whether you'll have to submit a portfolio or not. But,
okay.
Yeah. All right. So
that's what me and Mark was talking about. Cause he's like last year there was only 4 teams. So I was like, well, I guess that if there's only so many people that sign up, that's just there's no reason for a portfolio to get in. So it will be notified if we need to send work in.
Yes, you definitely will.
Okay.
Yeah. And that deadline is July 1st, which is coming up.
For the portfolio?
For the people to sign up to register for decorative.
I was gonna say,
yeah. But because we give you extra time, if you need to submit that portfolio, we give you extra time to prep because a lot more goes into decorative than any of the other divisions as far as prep work, getting your stuff on site.
That's what I'm excited for the lead up to the competition because talking with Marcus, like, if anything, it could be looked at that I'm instead of going and making our own team competing against Marcus, like just joining him, it's kind of a cheat code. Like I just told him, like, dude, you let me know what you need me to do, and I'll help you out. Because he was already telling me like how we're gonna set everything up and do everything. Like after we get our design done, actually cut it out, install it. We're gonna do a couple trial runs, like, and because he'll come out here because he came out and he does subcontract work for us. So like he came out and he's like, yeah, no, these are the steps we're gonna do. We'll get everything dialed in. We'll send 2 sets of everything up, and I was just like, well, you've got this dialed in pretty much. So whatever you say, just let me know.
Marcus definitely has the cheat codes. He's got a few gold medals and decorative at least.
Yeah,
I'll ride those coattails.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited on that one. I'm just get to be like an installer on a project. Tell me what to do. Being an extra set of hands on a project like that just sounds fun.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that because it was Marcus is running lead, and I just did. What do you want me to stick? Like I just get to be an installer. Which those are things that like every once in a while it's like, God, it'd be nice just to go install in our house today and not worry about anything else in the company.
How often do you guys get to do that? Do you guys go out?
Oh, I hardly install now.
No, we very intentionally, like in the last 2 years, have taken both of us out of installing. Very rarely does it happen right now, and it has to be a very special circumstance. But we've got an amazing team now, so it's been kind of wild seeing it kind of unfold because it's something we've been talking about for so long. But I definitely have my days where I'm like, man, it would be nice to be installing.
It probably feels cool, like seeing the empire you guys have brought up too. Like you're watching the younger people that were in your shoes. like you were there one day and now they're coming up and doing what you guys do.
Yeah, I really like training people. Like that's the part I miss about installing is being on site with new guys and showing them tricks and them having questions, and not getting to do that day to day as much has been, that's one of the things I miss for sure.
Well,
but it's cool
now.
No, it's cool that I'm enabling it through providing the work, and then I know that our guys are, and him, the training's still happening and I don't have to do it. So it's nice to know that we're setting systems up and putting people in place to make it to where it's still happening.
Yeah.
And I don't have to directly do it. Like my son's learning how to tint auto right now in the other bay. So he's finally decided. Is that
the one you guys posted about yesterday? Your nephew that was like his second day at work or something?
Oh, maybe.
Clap.
Yeah. Because my older kids have all been in here sporadically over the summers and stuff, but it's never been like, okay, they're old enough to be on payroll, get a real check, and now he wanted to do it.
Have rules and regulations, have a boss.
Yeah.
Actually have to listen to him. Do what he asked. Yeah, that stuff.
Yeah, it's like a real job now. Yeah. So
they actually want to be in the field?
Well, he does. Yeah. He actually is kind of kicked through to him. I've hey man, you've got a huge opportunity right now. There's people right now paying thousands of dollars to go do a couple day class to learn this craft, because it can be so valuable to you as a skill to be able to install. As a young person right now, with AI coming in, taking out a lot of potential desk work, I think it's gonna be even less opportunities to do work like that. And the trades are so understaffed. This skill has provided everything for my whole family, just by being able to know how to take a piece of film and put it on a window. And that's universal right now. If I was 18 coming out of high school and had the skills to tint either homes or cars, you've got the freedom to, do whatever you want. You want to go spend your summer in Miami? I'm sure you can find a shop down there that needs somebody through the summer. Go experience Miami for a summer. Oh, now the summer is over and they don't need an extra person. Maybe you can get a work visa and go to Australia for their summer. There's all types of cool creative things you could do with this skill now, and you could take you anywhere.
I never thought about that. Yeah, you think about travel nurses all the time do that. I never thought about.
Digital nomads are a thing right now, but I think you could be a skilled craft nomad, especially as something like AC or window tint or just stuff like that. I'm just saying that's going wild with it, right? But even if you just want to stay where you're at and have a nice solid job, where right out of high school you're making $60,000-$70,000 a year.
Not right out, about 2 years, a year out of high school when you've refined your skills.
Depending on how young you've started,
and how
totally
how driven you are.
Yeah, exactly.
How driven
I'm
you
saying
are.
the possibilities there for
absolutely.
Sure. It doesn't take long to be, in my mind, I'm thinking 4 or 5 years isn't very long.
Yeah.
Most young people don't think that way.
Yeah, but that's how you got to speak to them, though.
Yeah. Well, you just find
the same way.
In my mind, it's like we said, we're hiring right now based off of that attitude and work drive. And so how many young people have that is a different question.
Yeah.
But you can find those people. You can find the people that are, especially now with social media, the people that are following the Jocko Willinks of the world and the Cameron Haynes, and you can target those young people, and you're probably going to know that they're dialed in and they're at least wanting to go on that path,
Oh, no, I agree. I mean, no, we have a very, special trait that you can travel very easily with it, especially if you go to the right marketplace, the right cities. There are going to be shops that are going to be looking for people. And then especially if you if you get a good enough
rapport with people.
Reputation and get into the network. Say you go to a couple of the tint-offs.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Networks with some of those people. As soon as your name is known, with Marcus, I saw that he was having a change. He was moving on from NGS, and it's I reached out to him instantly. I was like, "Hey, you available?" And then he came out. He did some subcontract work. I tried my best to see if he wanted to move here. It didn't happen. But it's still, we still have that. We got a great relationship where I know if I have a project or if I just need help with or advice on anything, he's one of my go-tos. I have about 10 plus people that I'll probably run through a Rolodex if I have a project where it's I know what I know, but when it comes to certain projects, there's not grounds I've stepped on, or I might think it's the right way, but at the same time, I want to bounce the idea off as many people as I possibly can that have run projects like that. And it's I know that Marcus still, even with the new venture he's on right now, I already know, like he's already told me, if you got something on the weekends, let me know. My reply is, you give me what weekends and I'll get you the work. Like, I'll tell you when to be out here. So it's definitely building that reputation, knowing that you're a solid installer, that you show up. Like, God, those two. Well, you show up and you're a solid installer and just obviously a stand-up person along with that. But just those two things alone, you could find work in almost any city. Yeah. And then, you could technically travel the world. Where it's hot, I guarantee you there's a shop. We say the same thing every single year. Every shop owner I talk to, if I had another installer, that's everyone's problem.
And on the other spectrum of that is like, that's the opportunity. And then also, if you're entrepreneur minded, learn the skill, get good at it. And there's plenty of big markets that don't have enough people. You could start your own thing, and when you're a small operation, there's so many opportunities out there as far as that goes. And us being able to bring Marcus in thing goes back to the value of going to stuff like WFCT. Like, we've made a relationship with Marcus over the years of going to these events, getting to know him, competing against them. Now all of a sudden we have access to like a great friend, but also someone who can come out and help us, have the best month we've ever had because he was available,
Yeah. And I think that rings true of people think WFCT just because we're in Reno this year, that it's only going to be people coming from the West Coast. But we have a map even on our website of people coming from all across the world. Yeah. We truly are an international show, even though it's not held technically internationally anywhere yet. But people come from all over. And so you never know who you're going to meet, where they're going to be from, where you could go next. It's just crazy.
That's the funniest thing about the comments. Like, when the content gets put out and like Tinder Battles put a piece of content of me out, me competing, they list me as world champion. And then just all of a sudden when it caught fire, it's at like 12 million views right now. The comments are just hysterical. World champion, world, is it really world? I can actually truthfully say that. Like, I can list off people from Korea, Australia, Italy, China, like, yes, it is world. Canada, Mexico, Brazil, like, yes.
Turkey, everywhere,
Yeah, so it's one thing I do love about that competition is the crowd it draws. It draws from absolutely everywhere. And then, like, my always response to anyone who's trying to be, come compete. I want to compete against everyone. I don't want someone not to come because I want the best of the best to come compete, because then everyone thinks it's all ego driven. Oh, you just want to say you're the best. No, that's just not a benefit. Like, that's that for anyone it does win. Like, it's awesome. It's cool. It's every time it's happened, I've been very appreciative of it, but I've only gotten better because I have been competing against the best. I see them, how they are competing, what they're doing. And I pick up tricks and traits from them. And then also I'm curious. Like, I will go to them and ask them, why did you do that? And like, I've had that same experience too, where someone's come to like, I saw you do this. Like, well, how'd you do that? And then it's like, you sit there and have a conversation. And that to me is the greatest value of the competitions. It took me some time to realize that. When I first started competing, it was all about, I just wanted to win. I just wanted to say I was the best.
All right. I don't want to skip over the international possible maybe happen in one day thing, because that would be crazy. Like, I was just like thinking about it in my head while you were talking. Like, there's actually like really cool places you can go around the world where the cost of like running something there would actually probably be significantly less than doing it in the US.
It might be, yeah.
Like somewhere, I'm just like off the top of the head, like if you wanted to do Asia, like Thailand or somewhere like that, like there's places you could do that would actually make it super affordable for people from the US to go there. And it would make it easier for people for Asia to get there. Yeah. Like, there's actually some really cool, like even South America, I'm thinking there, like, that would be crazy cool. Yeah, I think we would have a high turnout of people from America going to something like that.
You would, but you'd also, that would sell out. I think anywhere in Asia would sell out. The market over there is so big. Oh, yeah. So it'd be like,
but it'd be really
released,
cool.
You better if you're going to go, you make that decision as soon as the dates are released and tickets are available. Otherwise it's going to feel like that.
But as far as like the videos I see coming out of other countries on the way people tint is like even more drastically different than what we see at the competition. Mm-hmm. That's what would make it cool. I want to see all these other styles and tools people are using. Like,
that was probably the most criticism I got on that video. And it was, the person would ask like, why you didn't squeegee out the whole window, then you're cutting. Like, what are you doing? That's not, that's not right. And then I would just reply back to them like this, as soon as I know the pattern's tacked, and I'd give my explanation to them. And they'd be like, wow, I never thought of it that way. I've been tinting in UK for, 10, 15 I it's like, if you can, come out to one of these competitions, it's a blast. Yeah. You have tons of fun. So, again, and I say ad nauseum, the value of these things is the networking. Every single one of them. WFR, Tinder Battles, WFCT, it's the networking. It's if you're just there to compete, it is fun. Like the first time around, obviously you're probably focusing pretty hard on that, but get uncomfortable, walk up to someone you don't know. I'd say 85% of the people there are all open to have any conversation you want. There's going to be a few that think like, oh, I got to protect my tips and tricks and secrets. Like at the beginning, there was a competitor that I thought was an absolute a dick. And then ended up finding out a couple years later that who his company was sponsoring him, his boss told him, I don't want you talking to anybody. And like was literally silencing him. And then it was like, I look back, I'm like, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And now I'm really good friends with him. Like, and then it's like, oh, all right, that makes sense. Like he stepped out, he did his own thing and he's crushing it. Like it's you don't know what you don't know, but the majority of the people there, like I'm happy that I leaned, thankfully. And when I was 25 and I was in Louisville, I fell into, thankfully, leaning towards Chris Brooks and those guys, got to know them real well. And then that's when it opened my eyes like, okay, I understand it now. Now I have like, lifetime friends. I look forward to it. Me and Chris have already talked about it. I'm going to, at some point, I'm going to try for this summer. I don't think it'll happen this summer. Fly down to him, help him install for a day, go fishing, and then sit down and do a podcast.
Nice.
And then I want to get him out here too. But I figured the best way to bait him out here is if I go do it out there first, then I can force him to come out here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's definitely the relationships in this competition are the biggest things. Has there been any beyond the, I want to ask real questions, but I know I can't.
You can try.
Oh, well, no, I'm not going to do that. That's not nice. And also I know what the answers are going to be. So meeting's not mandatory, but obviously highly recommended. I always recommend it too. It's, there might be a lot of questions repeated, but at the same time, the one question that you might not have thought of does get asked, and that could save you in the competition. So,
or it's somebody's first time and they're too nervous to ask. So it's helpful to have the veterans there to kind of push it along.
I would agree with that, but disagree because sometimes those people unfortunately ask the question. That's where I'll say, as a veteran myself too, I've had a year or two, maybe I was a little too outspoken or a little too giggly during the meetings. And I have since silenced myself because, it's not fair to the people who are competing the first time around. Like, you're going to go to the meeting, be useful, be helpful. Yeah. Like, if someone's struggling to hear a question, let them know. It's not, you should be wanting to help everyone in that meeting so you get the best version of them competing. Like, otherwise, like, what, you're going to try to sabotage everybody? Like, that makes, what is that medal going to be worth then? Be worth nothing.
I have to say that is the worst part of the meetings is the tinters are a bunch of smartasses. The same question will get asked 7 times and 6 of them are people being sarcastic, just trying to be a smartass.
No, it's by like the 6th or 7th time, then it gets sarcastic. The first couple of times it's not, but when you hear it for the 6th to 7th time,
you can tell.
Can we take the door panel apart? No, can't take any. What if I pry it back this far?
I mean, we could cut 30 minutes off those meetings if we just stopped with those.
The judges are good at wrangling.
Yeah, they are for sure. Yeah. But it happens every time like clockwork. And it's just like, man, I thought this was high school. Like that's like high school stuff.
Well, the direction I think with the judges that went to, like now you have Chris pretty much heads auto. You have Sal and Flat now. You have veterans that have won that they've been on the other side. So they can definitely wrangle everybody in a lot easier.
Yeah, I definitely think that's helpful having someone that has competed previously. Yeah. I mean, even the rules change, but they're a part of it. So they've, been in the competitions, they've done it. They know what works, what doesn't, the timing, they know it all. So it's super helpful to have them on the panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I think like just even the pure judging factor, like someone with a lot of experience installing is going to have the best eye to find flaws.
Well, and then also too, like this is also something that's bugged me with technically all the competitions. The installers that think that any one of the competitions that are happening right now are trying to favor one person or the other because of the manufacturer they use or a relationship. It's like, shut up. Like seriously, like you really think these people are taking time out of their, it's not just day, out of like usually about 3 to 4 days span. Like WFCT like takes up an entire chunk of the middle of a week. Mm-hmm. They are going out there at most having their flight and maybe their room paid for. Otherwise, their time, they're not getting paid for this. Why you think they actually care who wins or not besides the best installer? That's all that matters.
Yeah. Like
to think, well, they know what film that is. They're gonna, they're gonna judge that film harshly because they're a manufacturer of a different film. Like, shut up. Like seriously, like that is the most annoying thing when going to the competitions that I hear. And it's usually like a handful of people and it's over and over again, the same people. And it's just like, if you have that big of a problem with it, just stop competing then. If you don't trust the process that much, just don't compete in anything then. If you really think people are going to be that biased against you. Yeah. No one's taking time out of their week, let alone you guys planning for an entire year to, let's rig this competition. Like,
yeah, we go through a rigorous process choosing our judges. And like some of them do stay consistent throughout the years because they've proven tried and true. Like they're going to be honest, they're going to be reliable, they're going to be, faithful to our brand and our event. So yeah, I mean, it's completely unbiased. They're doing it. We do everything we can. We tell you guys to cover your film boxes. Like they don't cross paths at all. Like the judges don't see who's on what car, who's on what frame. So we do everything we can to eliminate that. And some people are like, why don't you do live judging? Well, because you're going to come back and say that they saw who tinted on that car and you're going to be mad about it. So we take every step we can to make sure it's fair. Yeah, no, how WFCT operates, I love the way it operates. I am happy the judges aren't stuck in purgatory anymore and they can cruise around. And it's like, no, it's a trust system. Like we know you guys aren't going to do that, and also they're not going to sit there and ruin their own integrity just so they can take a quick glimpse.
If anything, our trophies are proof that it's completely unbiased. I think every time, maybe except for once. Last year. Oh, was he not there last year?
No, he couldn't make it. They had step
your first one in 2015?
Yep.
Okay, so one of our local competitors, local shop here in town. I don't like calling anybody a competitor.
EcoTint.
They're like one of the solid shops in town that have been around forever. Brian, he's been a judge almost every time we've won. He has no incentive for a local shop in his city to win.
Yeah.
Like, because it is PR. It is like recognition that like people look at. So like that right there is evidence that like, okay, clearly he's not biased. He's judging the window off of quality.
Yeah. And I can say, like, sometimes if I check in on the judges, I'm like, how's it going? They're like, oh, I can tell who did that. And they didn't do so good. Like, it's not like they're doing it to sabotage. They're just saying, I know this person and I'm still going to judge them fairly. I'm not going to give them extra points because they're my friend.
Well, that was the funny part. Like the covering the box thing. Like, that's one of those things where, like, I'm fairly certain majority of those judges, when they walk up to that film,
they already know.
They know majority of the films because we've all worked with all the different types of films.
Yeah, so you can tell just by a subtle color difference.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one of those free points to where it's like, if you want to win one of these competitions, don't ever sacrifice any of those points. Read the rules and understand, like, make sure nothing's seen, make sure everything's put away, all that stuff. But every single one of those guys walking to them have 20 plus years of experience. They've used everyone's film, or at least they've sampled almost everyone's film. They can see the nuances between film and film. Yeah. They don't care about the film. The film is just what we're selling to our customer to land a project, to provide for everybody. Right. So it's like, get out of here. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Again, it's one of those things. If you don't think these guys already don't know what that film is, please stop.
While we're on the topic of film, that is one change that we're making this year. So typically you guys have 30 minutes before your heat to pick up your film. This year, you're going to have 45 minutes before your heat. And that's because that first 15 minutes, you're expected to be there, pick up your film. And once we hit that 30-minute mark before your heat, we're going to call anybody. Like if you haven't shown up, if Ricky hasn't picked up his film, I'm going to be like, hey, are you still coming? Are you here? Where are you at? And you're going to say either I'm on my way or I can't make it. Your spot's going to go to the next person in line, the first person on the wait list.
Awesome.
That's cool.
I was hoping that was going to happen this year because there's so many, like we had only 7 people compete in the finals last year. Like, that was one thing. Any person, that happened in multiple divisions too, right?
Yeah.
So the person who was sitting on that bubble, like, I am all for it.
So somebody made the finals and didn't show up.
Somebody made the finals, didn't show up, and the person that was like next to make it in missed it by a second. Like his time was 1 second off. They had the same score.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I couldn't call him because it was too late.
So having that set up ahead of time is really nice because then people can bring their tools and be ready to go.
Yeah.
All right. So so out of all the feedback you got from us, I know that was definitely probably one of the things that a lot of people said.
A lot of people, we're talking about people not showing up or, not coming at all to the event. Like you register and then you don't come at all. Or if you are registered and then you don't show up to the finals or whatever heat you're in. Yeah.
So that you might not be able to tell me, but so in order for people to be prepared for that to happen, you would have to know that you're like the 1, 2, or 3 people that's next in line score wise. So does that mean that scores for people that didn't make the finals will be released so that they know if they should bring their tools down and anticipate somebody not showing up?
It's more of an internal conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would just tell everybody, if you think you're close, just have your stuff with you. Bring your stuff with you anyways. And that's what I do whenever people are on the wait list is I call them before the event and I say, are you showing up or are you not showing up regardless if you're in? And they'll say, oh, I'm thinking about coming, but I don't know. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to be there, you kind of get precedent because you're actually on site. Obviously, if you're not on site, I'm not going to call you.
So if anything, it might not be like publicly announced, but if you're the bubble person, you might get a call telling you, hey, be ready in case.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, I thought that's a good idea. So beyond that suggestion, was there any other suggestions that stood out that may have shaped the rules this year?
There were a few. The competitor meeting not being mandatory, that was something we had kind of weighed back and forth. And so some people obviously are very for it because it's accountability and it's, respect for everybody else that's in the room. But yeah, in the end, we decided not to make that mandatory. So.
Okay. Yeah. I thought that one was going to get pushed through. I enjoyed when they first had it, because it's like the door's shut at that time, and then like I don't agree with that you're disqualified. I don't think you should still have the right to compete, but like, hey, you were late, we told you to be this time, you lost 5 points.
Yeah.
If you lost 5 points, you could put up a perfect window and flat. That doesn't mean you're getting in, because usually the top 8 is like 97 and above. Yeah. So it effectively takes you out of the competition. Again, it holds you to the accountable part. But then, you guys have to differentiate between someone actually having an emergency or not having an emergency. Then if you make that call, then you have a whole crowd over here complaining that, well, you let him in, you didn't let me in. So I get it. I mean, that was probably the most depressing thing in 2014. It was in Baltimore. I forget the gentleman's name, but he showed up. He was like a minute late. And at the time, I don't think he spoke English was a second language. And like he just was literally having trouble finding the place. Like he was there and everything. And he walked in, they had him leave and he didn't get to compete. And he flew in from a different country. So like
that's why I'm saying
watching that was kind of like, that sucks. But like lose a point or two. Like how?
Yeah, but they're not getting an advantage by missing the rules. I think the correct choice was made. It's a disadvantage. It isn't helping them.
Well, agreed, but it goes either way.
The disadvantage is you might mess up on the rules, and now that's where you're going to lose points.
Believe me, I agree. I like it either way. It has its advantages and disadvantages. Yeah. So I don't think there's a wrong way to doing it. I guess if anything, lean towards the way it's going to make operating the show smoother. Where it's like if someone's complaining about a rule, were you at the meeting? No. Okay.
Yeah.
Why are we still talking? Did you read the rules? No. Okay. Then
I do have people that come up to me. They're like, "Can we do this?" I'm like, "Were you in the meeting? Yeah. Did you hear it?"
Yeah. And that right there, that at least to where they come up and they try to start bugging. It's like, if you weren't in the meeting, that's not my fault. We told you to be there. It's highly recommended to be there. As much as I want to help you, I've got a billion things happening right now. I can't. Have a nice day. And then go about your business. So, I mean, I get it. I agree.
How do you feel about the new frames? The modified frames?
Well, as soon as I modify my one over there and start practicing on it.
You don't even know the measurements.
I haven't even seen them.
It's the same window.
Same perimeter, yeah.
I don't need to know the measurements. I just got to recreate the angles. Okay. In which, looking at the photo and the still shot that I took, and I zoomed in, and I'll show you when we're done. We have one that we built for the first time that goes beyond the academy itself. That it's roughly about the right size. I need to have a new glass guy come in because the first guy I told him what rubbers I wanted in it, and he put the pull rubbers on the side and not on the top and bottom, and then told me it couldn't be done. And then I talked about 2 other contractors and a glazer, and they're like, yes, it can. They just didn't want to do it. And I was like, yeah, that's what I thought, because I've competed on these frames over and over again. I like them. I think it's a great idea.
I still haven't seen them, so I have no idea.
Take a peek.
What? You really haven't seen them?
They're pretty cool. I'm excited.
Is that little flash on that video with Marcus?
It's on our Instagram, WFCT event.
Oh, yeah.
I text Sal, and I was like, are we going behind or to it? And he was, what are you talking about? I was like, the new frames. He's like, I didn't even know they did that, which I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but that was his reply. He goes, I had no clue. And I sent him the video.
Your ass trying to get all kinds of inside information.
I know.
Where in the rules does it say I can't talk to people?
Sal didn't give you an answer, so he followed the rules.
No, it's because I know they're really close friends. I can poke and make fun with them. Let me finish.
You're trying to talk about integrity with judges, and you're calling them on the site trying to get scoops.
I sent him a video and he's telling me he hadn't seen it yet. Okay. What do you want me to do? He also told me his plans of like the other stuff he wanted to have built. And then he got the price and you guys were like, that's not happening. So yeah, Sawhow's a great.
Who knows? Maybe one day. We're moving upwards and onwards. We'll see.
Oh,
I'm trying to do big things this year. 25th anniversary. So
introducing
in every division.
Introducing that window is definitely a big, because like I said, it's going to come down to, I think it's going to make judging easy, because it's going to be, all right, who finished? All right, well, that's half of them. All right, now let's judge that half. And there are going to be mistakes. How you cut up against metal shows everything on how straight your cut is. If it fades out, if it leans in, it's going to be real easy in my eyes for judges. Real easy. Like without a doubt, it's going to be easy. Because the overcoming those obstacles, it's everyone's first time going around doing it. So, I mean, my advice to anyone who's competing for the first time, they have to compete on those for the first time. Just get the window done. I mean, obviously try
this
for it
is
to be
the final
clean.
window that changed, right?
No, both.
The whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Oh, wow, I really have no clue then. I think I've seen like a little split on the trapezoid window.
Oh. Do I have a pen?
Here, I have a Sharpie.
That works. Yeah. So
Ricky's drawing this right now.
Well, and then also we'll put it up on the screen too. So you have your typical window, but then you have a metal bar that goes that way and a metal bar that goes that way. So now you have 3 panes that
for the main window.
For the preliminary one.
Oh.
And then the finals window is it's either split horizontally or vertically. I think it's vertical. I'll look at I have a picture of it. I mean, I think it's split like that. So it's split into 2 windows. So you're going to have rubber seals that you still can't cut or pull that you have to tuck into, but then you have the metal bar that it's going
so
to.
Every single window has a metal cut.
And it's going to really depend in my
that.
eyes.
That's a good in between of going to like a vinyl window, but.
Well, yeah. So it gives you the ability to see all your cuts, which I agree with.
Maybe.
No, 100% you'll be able to see a metal against glass. There is no hiding that cut. It's either you're going to see it straight on, or you're going to go over the top of it and you'll be able to look down and you'll be able to see it. So no matter what, you're going to see how someone cut. And also they can look around the other side of the window and be like, well, I don't see a gap, but it looks like someone just squiggled a line all the way behind this bar. Like that to me is still going to get knocked.
No, it's good.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, I love it. Like I said,
Well, we can take a picture of it and you can edit it in.
Like my doodles?
Yeah.
No, it plays into my strengths as an installer. Like I'm typically a fast installer that, you know, I can move quickly. So this isn't an issue for me. I love this.
Do you feel like you've slowed down at all, or not necessarily lost your skill, but like have lessened your technique since not installing as much?
Mm-mm. I mean, in 2015, I probably laid maybe 600 square feet in the year. I was mostly an auto installer. I only went to, because in my career, I've went from, in high school, I was more of an auto. And then as I got out of high school, I saw our flat glass guy coming and going at his leisure and then doing a couple hundred square feet in the day. And I was like, I want to do that. So I switched to that. I was a flat glass installer for about 2 or 3 years. And I went back to, we found a solid flat glass guy. I went back to auto. So I've been kind of the utility knife. I've gone back and forth. With flat, I'll get some practice reps in before I go, and that's just for cutting purposes. It's angling my knife. But everything else, no, I don't think so. Especially because now I've started to take it further, especially with us starting our academy. Like we have our first class coming up in 2 weeks. We're having Elu, Danny Munoz, Kevin. Now I'm going to try to pronounce his last name, but he's from Solar Guard. He runs the Panorama program in Solar Guard. Sorry, Kevin. I'm not, you know, have to ask him when he's here how to pronounce his last name.
Raul?
Raul, one of our installers that we trained in auto, that has now, he's stepped away. He's doing his own thing, but we still use him subcontract wise in our auto department. And then also he's come to me. He's like, can I bring a window here? I want to like just practice on the window in the shop. I was like, I'll do you one better. How about I teach you? And then I get to use you as a subcontractor. And he was like, deal. I was like, good. Because it works out for both of us. Like I need someone that I can call and be like, hey, I got a bunch of work, get it done. And then also it's not someone who's on my staff constantly. So I don't have the burden of making sure that I'm providing work for everybody, because that's where we're at right now, trying to find that fine line of how many people we want on our permanent crew, but then also creating that subcontracting network of installers that, like, in a perfect world, I'd always have the constant flow of work and they'd be on staff 24/7, but also they want that freedom and capability to kind of do what they want. And it's like, it works out great for both of us.
And with as seasonal as we are, it's like a nice buffer into the seasons, because the winter, no matter how big you get and how reliable the leads are coming in, just look at Google Trends. The search volume for the word window tint is at 50% in December. It's like the amount of people looking to get windows tinted is less when it's cold out. Like, it's just
you call it cold. That's so funny. Because even when I come here for SEMA, like in November, it's still 85 outside.
I think we got perfect weather. 38 and 40 at nighttime.
At nighttime when you're not.
Nighttime.
Okay, so it's more that the volume of people interested in getting windows tinted goes up when it's hot.
Yeah, that's
everyone remembers they live in a desert.
I know. My rental car, I'm like sweating.
Yeah. So it's like that reminder is there, and you can see it looking at years and years and years of data on, in our system. There is a bell-shaped curve. No matter what we do to try to flatten it out, there is more demand in the summer than the winter. Yeah. It's just there. Yeah. So having subs allows us to surge even more in the summer without bringing too many people on that we can't support in the winter. Yeah.
But no, for like installing wise, the past 2 years, especially last year, the year before was obviously more than last year. Me installing, I was the first one yanked out of installing. He was our lead. He was our flat glass manager, where he was installing, but he was also training the new guys that was there. So his installs were going down. And then this past year and a half, about sales you've been doing, right? Or was it a year? We only actually just
a year and like 3 months, or no, 2-3 months. Yeah.
Where he's just only doing sales. Like, it's where we got to the point where we had a salesperson. She ended up having her second child. It was someone of our family, our cousin. She stepped away in general, to where it's like we already were at a point like, all right, we need 2 salespeople because we have so many leads coming in. So he stepped into it. We trained somebody, parted ways, and then now we're training someone else, to where at least we have to have 2 salespeople, because at any given moment when we didn't have 2, he was doing like 12 leads a day. Mm-hmm. So like the capability of doing follow-ups and other stuff that sales needs to do. But if we have a constant flood of leads coming in, it's like, I want to get to they're calling us right now. Yeah. Unfortunately, that stuff's going to be put to the wayside until we can get to it. So this past year and 3 months, that's when he's been completely ripped from install. But for the past 2 years, like, if I go into my Tint Wiz, you can see my trend of my name being put on installations. It just went straight into the ground, because we got to the point where we had to pull ourselves out of the day-to-day operations and actually start working on the business if we wanted to scale and get bigger. So, and flat glass has always come kind of second nature to me, because that was the first like main role that I stepped into. I remember tinting my first house when I was 14. Oh, yeah, my dad left me in this house. Thankfully it was our neighbor down the street from us, and they believed, I don't know if it was even said, or obviously they had the assumption that I was at least 16. I just worked and did my thing. So flat glass has always kind of come second nature. 2015 was the first year I competed in it. It was just out of like, well, I'm here. SolarGuard's going to pay for it, so why not? And I did paint protection too at that time, and I had no business being in that competition in 2015. I was watching guys clay bar cars, and like I had to go over to SolarGuard's booth. I think Jose was there at the time, and I was like, "Hey, what are they doing?" And he explained to me what they were doing. And I was like, "Oh, I should do that for every car, huh?" And he's like, "Yeah, yes, you should." And I'm like, "Okay, that's good to know." Yeah. But that's to me, that's the whole point of the competitions, though. Like, I saw all that being done by the other guys competing in paint protection. I took all that back, started doing it. I'm like, wow, this is so much easier. And then that's how I grew my paint protection, was just in the competitions, and it was just putting myself to that test and then really trying to improve my skills that way. But in flat, it was just something that's like the one that I've been able to capture. The auto is always the one I've always wanted to win auto. Like, that's the main one I started competing for.
So 2015 was your first year competing?
2012.
Oh, wow.
I only did a single competition for the first, I did 12 and 14. I didn't compete in 13 because I got married.
15 was the first year you did flat glass, though?
Yeah. And I didn't do it the first year in 2012 because I saw what the rules were, and I was just like, it wasn't, I never seen windows. Like, we don't see windows. We hardly ever have windows big enough out here that have to be seen.
I just came across one the other day.
Yeah, like I said, hardly ever.
I know. What I'm saying though is it's very, very odd. And I just had one like this last week, but they want security film, so it's a problem.
Yeah. So it was like, I read the rules, and it's like you had to seam the window straight up the middle, and it was just like not comfortable with competing in that. So I just wanted to focus on auto. So I just did auto. And the guy who won it, I think Chris Brooks took third that year, which he did an overlap seam, which looked great. But the guy who won, he butt seamed it and it was silver and it looked flawless. Like you couldn't see the seam. Like I was technically in awe. I was like, how in the hell did you even do that? And like, so I think the year after, I forget what the window systems changed to in 14. I think it was like a wood frame or it was something different. And it's the same thing. I didn't put myself into it. I was contemplating doing paint protection that year. That was the first year of paint protection. And I'll stick with auto. And then in 15, because it was in Reno, I was just like, screw it. I'll compete in all three. And that's when I started competing in all three. And I just kept that going. And I kept telling myself every year, I'm not going to do paint protection because it takes too much of my time. And then I'd be like, I'd get my score back and realize, I was a point away from the finals. All right, I'll give it one more try. And then you guys threw down no, you only can compete in two. And I was like, all right, decision's made.
Yeah.
Auto and flat is what it is. But I don't know. Flats has always come real natural to me. If anything, it's with the training, what I was alluding to with the training though, it's helped me get better as an installer because now it's like, I can do that all day long install. Now trying to pass that trait onto somebody and communicate it to where they understand it. That's the new skill that I am developing and trying to get better at every single time I'm training somebody. And that's probably the one thing that scares me the most about even like the first class in the academy. Like I know I can do it, but at the same time, am I going to be able to provide enough value for the person who is going to pay to come out here and come to our academy? And then like, am I going to be able to give them enough for them to be like, all right, it's worth spending this much money?
I mean, even if you give them one tip, that's still adding value to what they didn't know beforehand.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's going to go good. The first person, we've already done one demo with one person and I feel like it went well. It's things that we learned that we can do better. And I think especially the first group we had, we kind of handpicked who it would be so it's a lot of people that already have a lot of like skill when it comes to dealing with tint. So understanding cutting, cleanliness, like all of those things in my mind are huge to make it to where they're going to be able to suck it up faster. So that's like why I think our initial idea was like, there's a lot of people out there that are exclusively auto and maybe have done some flat that want to sharpen that knife and add that tool and just make sense. Like that's an extra revenue stream immediately if you can figure out how to start doing flat glass, and the learning curve is a lot less steep since they already understand.
So is that the intention of the academy, is just people that have prior experience, or it could be someone that comes from
but
nothing?
That's like our target avatar to begin with, I believe.
That was the first thing that flashed in my head when I thought about it. I wanted to find a way to sell myself to the whole country and have them come to me. And it was like, all right, training. And then it's like, I want to build my installer base. But also if I can help provide auto installers, because an auto installer, they already get the concept of tinting. They understand the cleaning the aspects, keeping contamination away. They know how to handle their blade. They know how to handle film. So it takes a lot of that barrier away. Well, that will be the first entry. The people that were kind of, the first, like the avatar that we're going after is you've been in auto for a couple of years and you're trying to add this, or you're trying to switch completely over to auto. Like Elu was like, to me, it was like a no brainer, and Danny too. Like both are masters in their craft and they want to learn the flat glass side. It's like, all right, we already speak the same language when it comes to tint. So it'll be, in my eyes, a much easier transition. Eventually down the line, the long-term goals is, yes, take someone who knows nothing, be able to have like a basic course, then intermediate, and then advanced. And then even beyond that, if you have an extreme advanced one where you bring in installers that have already been installing for years, but they're looking for those extra tips and tricks, that's like, all right, I keep getting stuck here. Where do I go from there? And then from there, build it online, have an online catalog to where I want to record from my prepping techniques, my installation, my everything, and then create a network within that catalog to where if you subscribe to it, you can ask questions. Say you have a picture of a window that you're like, I'm not sure. Go find that window. We'll go make a video. We'll post it and then create technically almost like the Facebook groups, but it'll be only purely intention. Like the reason why you're in this group is you're paying to be in it. So there won't be any trolling or nonsense or like any putting anyone down just because they're asking questions. No, we're all trying to do the same thing here, get better at our craft. And then also be connected with installers that we know are all like-minded, to where say you're in the middle of the country and you land a huge project and you are a 1 or 2 man show and you want to keep it that way, but you still want to go after a big job. Now you have access to a network of installers that you know are going through the same training, have the same ideology as you, that it's like you can throw out in the chat, hey, I have a couple 1,000 square feet here. Who wants to hop on this? And now they have access to a subcontracting network too, to where they can grow without having to actually go all in the fact of getting a bigger shop or hire more employees. Like they want to keep it small and simple, but still have access to all those installers. And which even at last year's WFCT, I ended up running into Clayton Summerall. Love that
Genius.
guy. Love that guy.
He's so smart.
We had a great conversation. We've been connected since too. Is like, I know, like, that's again rolling back to what the real value of those meetings are. Like leaving last year's meeting, I knew that if I ever landed a project that was big enough, say 300,000 plus square feet, I know I could get it done in probably 2 or 3 months, because the network of companies that were pocket of people I know that I instantly would reach out to, and which I know that person has connection to at least say 20 installers, to where it's like, all right, you are going to run this section, you take your installers, you go over there. And I'd be able to reach out to all these people and know that like I have the installers and I have the experience, because they're already doing those projects across the country right now. And those teams are waiting for jobs just to come in. Like they just want to go somewhere, get the job done. Like, I mean, like Texas right now with all the schools.
Yeah.
Like there is so much safety film being thrown up in Texas, and it's not just the Texas shops that are winning it now. I have a couple of friends that are winning them from one from Georgia. Like it's all about who you know. Get into the school district, find the right person. They don't necessarily care who's doing the work and the fact that the government's paying for it.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They want the relationship. It's like, all right, you were able to cultivate that relationship and get your foot in the door. Now all you have to do is say, tell your installers, be in this city. This is a school you're going to. The film will be sitting there. I'm shipping you a film handler. Tell me when the job's done. Yeah. And, so it's, that was the biggest thing I left definitely this past time, is running into Clayton. I ran into a couple other people where it's like, I know that if I ever need to go after a big project, I'm not worried about labor. Like I can coordinate it as long as I give everyone the right amount of time, obviously price the job appropriately. It's like the installers are there. So, but yeah, no, it's, yeah.
How did you guys come into the idea of doing decorative this year?
Something we've talked about doing for years now, and it's always been kind of shot down because of all the extra, portfolio, and like
portfolio is probably the main
that's
thing.
Been a big one. And it's like, we're so busy with all the other things we're trying to do here. I think it was really Ricky and Marcus talking, and the fact that us just being able to kind of come in on someone who's already got all that other stuff figured out and just be part of that team with someone that we enjoy being around and working with. And was like, oh yeah, like he brought it up, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't even have to think about it for a second.
I think I already told him yes before I asked you to.
Yeah, he knew, because I think he knew because I've been hounding for years. We should do decorative. We've got a printer. We've got everything. We can do decorative. Let's do it. But yeah, all the extra details that need to go into like designing it and all of that has just always been the barrier. So this opportunity is like, oh, cool. Yeah. Tell me what to do, Marcus. I got you.
Yeah, no, we've always been curious about it. When it got restricted to 2 competitions, that kind of made my mind up, where it was just like, I'm just doing auto and flat because I've always wanted to go after auto. But having Marcus here, getting to know him even more, and it's just like, I think we were just talking, and then I was like, and then I brought it up to him, and he was like, yeah, let's do that. And it seems like it'll be a very fun time. It'll be a fun install, like win, lose, whatever. The whole process of it, him explaining to me the process of like obviously having it designed and realizing there is that much more that's got to go into doing like the practice run, knowing that you only have a couple hours, which some people think, oh, you have, was it 2 hours or 3 hours? Yeah. Oh, you have 3 hours to do it. It's like, yeah, but you have to make it so many layers. You're sticking on both sides of the glass. Yep. One little mistake in the install can set you back 15, 20 minutes. And that really can push you to your limits.
I do feel like some people discount that division just because they're like, oh, it's a pretty install, but there's so much that goes into, like I said, the prep work for that competition. But then, there's one round that's 3 hours long, and that's all you get. One chance.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been so impressed with the stuff that's come out of that over the last couple of years. Every time I'm seeing it, I'm like, oh, that's a cool idea. Like, all right, if we have someone that wants something crazy intricate like that, like this is a good example of how it can be done.
Yeah.
Because those are by far the most detailed, intricate, decorative projects I've ever seen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like by far.
Yeah, no. So the experience is definitely what, made me lean into it. And then also too, it makes more sense for us to lean into that with us standing up a Flat Glass Academy. Like, people yesterday they were doing an auction for John Little on Film Pro or Film. I think it's just called Film Group. I offered 2 days of training, which like is it just flat glass? I mean, I was like, technically it can be whatever you want, but like I'm going to present you with where I technically know I hold my accolades is in flat. If you want me to do auto with you, sure, I've got no problem with that at all. But since standing all this up and doing all this, to me, it just made more sense to obviously stick with the flat windows, you know. And it's, again, for me, almost it was just more of an experience thing. I think it'll be a very fun experience. I've always seen them do it, and it looks like fun. If anything, that will actually technically free up a lot of our time just doing that, because we only have to do that for 3 hours, and that's done.
Yeah, it's true.
And it kind of lead me. You said it happens the first day, right? Mm-hmm. That means we get to miss the first heat. All right. What? I'm sorry. I hate the first heat in any competition.
Somebody's got to do it.
I know. Well, believe me, I know.
No, I never liked it when flat glass was my first competition when I was doing flat and auto. I always liked to get the nerves out on auto and then be more relaxed on flat. So
I think the first heat of architectural this year will be interesting. It's going to be all eyes on them.
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be. And the reason why I don't like first heat, it's only because the small little access we had to judging, because we used to do internal competition. Judging your first person's window is always hard, and it's just human nature. It's like, how hard are you going to judge it? But now you're setting the tone with how you have to judge everything. Well, by the time you get to maybe the last window, it's like, if you could go back and look at that first window again, how would you change you might see it differently, in which there's really nothing you can do about that. That's why it's great. It's all random selection. Just like, here's what you get. I've been in the first heat before. I've been in the second heat before. I've been all over the place. So it's just, you get what you get. But that is just my own personal belief. I don't like going first in technically any competition. I want the judges to get one round out of the way and then go from there. And it just, you know, I guess if anything, sports superstition for me. And I used to play baseball, and baseball players are extremely superstitious. And for me, like, I can't remember. I'd have to actually go back and look and see who's competed in first rounds, who's made it into finals. 'Cause I know there's always like one or two, but majority of finals always come out of the later rounds. And I don't know if there's a correlation there, but
when we did our own in-house where we were the judges, it definitely made me realize, like, oh yeah,
this is hard to do.
This is tough.
Yeah.
And it's tough to do it unbiasedly round from round, because you've already seen one. Now you're on. So it's like, but I think at the end of the day, if you put a perfect window up in the first round, you're probably going to be fine.
Oh, that's why I love our judges. I love the judges that are going after. Last year, Dustin, Sal, last gentleman's escaping my Darren. Yep. Like they did a great job. And Sal did a great job of hiding his scores from everyone. The fact that he made me feel like my first window was a heap of crap.
He wants to make you sweat it a little bit.
Oh, me and him talked about it. He's like, no, dude, man, this is your first. He's like, I walked up to that window, and he's like, as I was walking away, I was like, that looks too good. And he went up there and started marketing. He did the same thing in the finals too. And I was like, because the finals, like, I left way more confident in the finals than I did the first round. The first round, I was like, I could make it in, but we'll see. It's going to depend on what everyone else does. In the finals, I walked away from my finals windows, like, everything went great. Like, I had like one corner I maybe had a little issue with, but 1 out of 8 corners, I'll take it. I was extremely happy. When I came back and looked at windows, I think Jordan has the reaction video to this, because as I'm walking up, he's recording me, and you can just see, like, all of a sudden I look back and you can see, like, there's no more confidence. Like, I was just like, I don't know. And like, I was looking through everyone else's, and like, I knew it was going to be between, or at least I felt looking at how he marked all the windows, it was going to be between me and the guy who took second. I knew it was between our two windows. I looked at both of our windows. His window looked clean and good too. I was like, in my mind, all right, I should podium. I don't know who's going to win though. I've got no clue who's going to win. So it was.
I like that. I like that you guys don't know.
Sal did a great job.
Because I don't know to the last second either. It's always fun for me.
Well, it's cool that now that it's a stayed all silver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like when that change happened. That's been nice, because it, like, even 23, after the final, being outside of it, just watching and then looking at everybody's windows, even from a distance, with silver, you can tell if there's contamination in there. And that year I walked around, looked at everybody's windows before they were even judged, and I was pretty confident that he had it, just because, like, you can tell with silver if there's contamination in there, like, and you can see it from a distance. So it's pretty cool just to be able to kind of judge them yourself and see how accurate you were on looking at it, you know?
Well, one thing I want to talk about is I can see that obviously there's a lot more social media stuff coming out from WFCT.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to like saving on competition floor, are we able to film now while we're competing, or say live stream, or beyond that?
Not the competitor, but other people for you.
Yeah, not obviously not me, but can I have other people recording and us live stream the competition? Because I know that was frowned upon in the past. I know it kind of got laxed a little bit. I know it's sitting kind of in purgatory right now where it's like.
Yeah, I'd say purgatory is a good spot for it. It's not technically not allowed, but I mean, you can use it for your own purposes, for your own social media.
Yeah.
But yeah, like none of that comes into consideration with the judges. Or
But it'd be purely for putting out content to put like that round out and say, edit it down and then flash out that reel just of the person competing itself. Because I've already seen how that content catches fire. And then all of a sudden you have millions of views and it's like, what?
So kind of similar line of question. Everybody out there should be doing that for themselves then, because I think the content's one of the huge valuable things coming out of this. Are you guys going to put more into putting more content out of the competition? Not necessarily even live stream, but recording a lot more and putting more clips out and stuff. Because I think that, like, to me over the years has been like the thing that, especially in the past when it was really like you can't do anything, was like, man, what are we doing? Like, we need to get eyeballs on this. And if anything, it's to your guys' benefit. Like, I mean, a magazine is a publication that's trying to like inform people on stuff. And like, this is just like the new medium to do it. And it seems to me like the more you guys could go wild on that, the bigger the whole competition gets for everybody.
Yeah, I think we have one social media marketing manager, Nicole. So she's been the one pushing out all this extra content. And she's been doing great with growing our platforms, all of them across the board. But she is one person. So it's hard for her on site. Like our team is already, delegated and doing their own things. But yeah, we're definitely focused this year on pulling in industry peers and having them support us in live streaming, documenting social media. Yeah.
Well, I'll volunteer, Tim.
Well, that's where I think there's like a cool like combination of that. Just allowing everybody out there
our clips. I'm
in the industry that's now putting out more content to do it and encourage it is basically using micro influencers in the industry to just push it out.
Well, and again, like you said, we are a magazine, we are a media company, so we don't have the inside that you guys have, the behind the scenes of showing installs every day or getting that content as much. So yeah, we definitely want to utilize that on site.
It definitely seems like, I guess with the opening speakers, Austin Cook, right now we are trying to find align dates. I've been connected with him. We're going to have him come out here. Nice. We're going to sit down, have a conversation, but then also we're going to try to create as much content as we possibly can while he's out here. But I'm seeing him announce that he's going to be one of the speakers to start off. Yep. And it's done nothing. I've really shied away from social media majority of my life. The past couple of years, I've had to lean into it because I've realized, like, all right, if we're going to promote our small business, like, this is where we got to lean into. And I mean, we've saw the most growth we've ever seen in the past 2 years by being consistent on our social media, putting out the content, and the long-term payout is where it's really showing in the fact of, like, when we go give proposals, when he walks in the house, they've probably already seen 3 or 4 clips of him. Mm-hmm. They already feel like
I get people all the time. You're the one in the videos, huh? Which video are you talking about?
That's how I felt about you guys too. Like whenever I first started my first year learning about the industry and I would see you guys' names or, even Marcus and Joe, like anybody that I see their names, I'm like, oh, they're like a celebrity. I already know them.
It's weird going to events now because I don't know. It's now that we are putting ourselves out there more, it is kind of weird, like running into people and they're like, man, I've been listening to your podcast. And I'm like, oh, wow. I like kind of forget that people might actually be listening.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've had at least 2 people. I had one gentleman from Virginia. He was in Vegas for a friend's, I think it was a bachelor party or his just birthday party. One or two. He's out celebrating with one of his buddies. And he just called the shop and he was just like, is it okay if I come by? And I was like, sure. I don't care.
That's awesome.
Came by, we sat and talked for like probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I realized, like, damn, we should have just sat down at the table and flipped on the cameras and put the mics in front of our mouths. Because I told him, dude, next time you're out in Vegas, like, let me know. Like, I'd love to sit down. Like, just what we just did, just keep doing the same thing. Because he was just asking about operations. He just got into the industry. And then he just had a million questions of the kind of how we're running things, how we're doing things. And it's like, I told him, like, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
Do not take it as this is how it's supposed to be done. Because it's going to change from market to market, from company to company. But like, this is where we've found our success. And this is where we keep trying to learn and grow. And these are he walked in, he saw some of the books and stuff. And like, he already knew Alex Hormozi was and everything. So I was like, dude, and he was only, I think, like 23 years old. I was like, keep doing what you're doing. I was like, dude, you're on the right path. Like, don't stop doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I feel the same way about social media. Like personally, I don't use it, but professionally, I was like, I need to connect with these people. So I made a work Instagram, I made a work Facebook, just so I can join the groups and hear the conversations and see these people outside of the events. Even when I'm at the events, I have no time. I'm saying hi and then running.
Oh, well, definitely some of the Facebook groups get very entertaining with some of the arguments that happen.
That's one of the things that I fall like deeply into, like the Gary Vee camp of social media is a mirror. Right. And like the algorithm's going to reflect back to you what you ask it for. So if you're constantly getting nonsense in your feed that's sucking up your time that doesn't provide any value, like that's what you're choosing to watch. So you can go out of your way to kind of hack the algorithm. And like if I scroll through my Instagram right now, it's either like track and field because my daughter, or wrestling because my other daughter, or something tint related or business related. Like might be Tommy Mello or Ryan Pineda or because that's the stuff I'm intentionally engaging with. That's what I'm getting. So there's a difference between 6 hours of just watching, you know, Bigfoot and Yeti tell raunchy jokes, which, you know, I still get right now just because AI is blowing my mind, and intentionally having your feed full of stuff that you're trying to better yourself with or make connections and network. And that's the real value of it if you take advantage of it. And there's totally a dark side where people are wasting 6 to 8 hours a day of their life and they could be doing something productive, but you get out of it what you put into it, just like anything else.
No, that's what I've come to realize. And then also too, I look at it now, it's like I've started posting my, like at least doing on stories, posting like my morning routine, depending on what time I get up, my cold plunge, I go work out, and then I come into the shop, and it's either a day if I'm bringing my son with me, I'll take a picture of my son because he loves coming to work. He's got his work shirt on. And it's just, it opens up I'd say my customers' eyes in the fact that it's its own little, very simple version of reality TV. And that's where people are hooked right now. It's like the Kardashians and all that blew up, Housewives. Now we're portraying our company, our brand, who we are, to where when we step foot into a customer's home, or if they come to the shop because they want their car tinted, if I have a conversation with them, like, they already feel like they kind of know us, and it helps with, I mean, technically and selfishly helps with closing rate, in which that the goal for me, that is we have so many employees, we have to provide. We have to have enough work here. And if that means that doing all this stuff is going to build more trust with our consumer and let them know what kind of people we are. And then also too, if someone tries to frame you in a certain way, it's like, no, I've been doing the same thing. And you can go back and listen to every podcast I technically have done now. And I repeat the same things over and over again.
Well, it shows that you're a real person. Like you go on a jog every morning just like I do. You have a dog just like I do. And makes you more than a businessman. It shows that you have something to provide for. Yeah.
It's not just, because that's the one thing, like one of our videos we put out, we did safety film on a school, and that one got like those get the worst comments. Cause it's like, oh, you know, you're just trying to make money. It's like, nope, not really. I mean, to be honest, like I have a child, and to say like, if I didn't at least give an effort to go to that school and say, hey, let me put security film on, because this is obviously something that does happen. And if I don't at least put that barrier in the way to try to slow something down, I could have done something. It's not going to solve any problems, but it's going to buy time. And I think we can all say buying time is what saves lives. And then yes, coupled on top of them already having the correct measures in place in that school of like, if you're that dialed in, like you should probably like ask the school, hey, if this event were to happen, how do you guys operate? Just so I know, I want to, you know, just be ready for it. If anything were to happen, is just being prepared, you know? And it's like, people are like, you know, you're just using this to make money. It's like, no, not really. I'm able to provide, thankfully, a safety net, or at least help to try to help the situation. If we aren't going to at least do that, like, what are we doing? Like it's not a problem we want to solve, but it's a problem. So we could put our head in the sand and do nothing.
Yeah.
Or we've got a product that actually will help and is proven to help. Yeah. But that's like that goes more to me to like kind of Joe Rogan philosophy of like some stuff you just got to ignore. Oh, I ignore it. I look at it
people
more.
People are going to be negative, man. That's the downside that I was talking about of social media.
It's entertainment.
That's why I'm not on Facebook very much.
I giggle most of the time.
That is the hard part for me on social media is like hearing stuff about our event. Like, to be honest, I'm not on it enough to hear everything.
It's good.
I don't want to always hear it on social media. Like that's why we send out surveys. I want you to tell me in the survey because that's what I'm reading. That's what I'm taking my notes from, and I'm making change based off of that.
Yeah. So. Well, that's where the toxic, like some of these Facebook groups, some are better than others at moderating. And like, you know, I'm even a mod in one of them where I constantly see them having conversations pop up that it's like, whoa, like, I actually feel bad for the person that just made that post because something's wrong. And there's a lot of that happening. And it's like, okay, I can't waste I'm not like so many times I've been tempted to like respond to something that's just like a super negative post. And it's like, then I take a second to read all the comments that have already happened. And somebody has already said what I think I want to say. And there's already been responses back to it that are negative. And yeah, but it's like even that time is like time I can't get back that I'm not changing anything. And it's like, okay, I'm out of this. That's why I don't spend much time in those groups anymore. It's just because it's always there. And it's like, all right, there's nothing valuable to get from this. Now there's a couple that I do like to chime in occasionally because it is mostly productive questions from new people in the industry. And it's a sincere question. And you can see that there are overwhelmingly more answers that are not people being a dick and they're trying to help, and people have differences of opinions and whatever. But the negative stuff in there is just like, it's so tempting to like, respond. And it's like, you gotta be like, okay, no, I wouldn't like, if I was face to face with this person, I probably would be a little bit more cordial and not say the thing that for some reason is the first thing that pops to my mind. So you have to have some discipline there and avoid those.
There's ways of going about those interactions and even engaging in on social media. Like one of the biggest conversations that happen is how you portray autofilms with IR heat rejection. There are companies out there that are just going to say it has 97% heat rejection. They're not wrong, but they're not right. They're doing a disservice to the customer because they're leading them to believe that it's going to block absolutely everything. They're not actually giving them the full story of, no, that's just a part of the heat spectrum, the most important part, and it holds that much heat out, but this is a total solar heat rejection. And these are all the different things that come into play to come up that goes into that. We lean into that. Like I want my salespeople, like I've already told them, like I don't want to hear 90% heat rejection without you painting the whole picture. If you don't paint the whole picture on that, I'm not going to be happy because you're misleading the customer. And if we actually paint the whole picture for the customer, if they do call around, they're going to call another shop. The shop's going to, if that shop says 90% heat rejection, they're probably going to have a question or two. And then they're going to start questioning that person. And then depending on how that person reacts, they may react in a way where that customer's going to go, no, I'm good. Hang the phone up, come straight back to us. We might be a little bit more expensive, but at least we were forthcoming with all the facts themselves. I'm not going to tell anyone how to run their business. I think that as an industry, we should come together and be able to say all the same facts together and not try to put the little small nuances between the films to try to sell. Don't sell the brand, sell yourself. Like, yes, have a manufacturer that you trust that is known as going to stand behind its product. If you built that relationship, awesome. But sell yourself to the customer, who you are and what you want to portray to the customer. But like that's one of the big arguments online and like how people go about it sometimes. They'll sit there instead of saying say almost wording it even like that, like, hey, I understand what you're doing. You do you however you want, but I think as an industry, we need to get better at actually telling our customer these things instead of saying, calling them out, calling them all sorts of words. And like, how can you be in business? You're a horrible business person. It's like, there's zero productivity in that. It's not going to do anything. You just bickering and moaning online. How about you just put content out that explains the difference in everything and how it should be portrayed? Do it that way and then put it out in a positive light. It'll be much more well received and you'll actually be taken a lot more serious. There are a few people that come to the top of my head, I won't name them, that it's just like, I want to tear my head. Like I'll see them post something. I'm just like, and it's like all of a sudden I'm thinking negative in the fact of like, you have nothing else better to do with your time. Like that's doing nothing for our industry. If anything, it just stokes the fire of the small little syndicate groups that all rally together and they think everyone's all against them. It's like, all right, no, it's, you guys need to get out of that mindset. Otherwise you're never going to grow. You're going to be stuck in that one spot. So I've been there at one point when I was in my early 20s. I thought of everyone around us as competition or put them out of business. When I stopped thinking that way and realized there's too much work out here. Well, why do I care what they're doing? I just want to make the experience for my customer the best, put the best product out there. I only care about what I grow within my company. From there, we started seeing a lot more success. And that's all that's all we need to do. Like there's going to be the $99 tint shops out there. There is a avatar that services that. The person who does not care. I just want my windows dark. I'm not spending $300 to $400 on my car. But then there's a person out there that wants to actually have all the facts and information. They want to be able to trust you as much as possible, and they want done in a timely fashion and a high quality install. They're going to spend $500 to $600 on a tint job. Those people are out there. You just have to reach them and let them know this is our values. This is how we sell. This is how we do our work. Like, we are definitely not the cheapest shop in Vegas. We get told it constantly. I'm fine with it. I don't want to be the cheapest shop. I want to be the best. I want to be the best quality installation, put high quality products on there. And manufacturer wise, especially for cars, if you're selling any of the big brands, their ceramics all match up to each other. There is some subtle slight differences, but they're all doing the same thing. It comes down to what shop's installing it. Who's putting it on? Are you going to trust the fact that they'll be there if something goes wrong? Or are they going to haggle with you, make you write a letter, or go to a different shop to write a letter with a header on it to just prove the fact that they did a horrible installation, which I've had that happen. I had someone come to me, a customer, and she didn't want to tell me the company's name, which I wasn't trying to get it from her. She's like, I just want your opinion on this tint job. I got like 4 feet away from it. And I was just like, well, there's glue in that front door. And then as I started walking around, it's like crease, dirt. And I went through the whole talk with her. Like, there is no such thing as contamination free, but a speck here and there, acceptable. Specks throughout the whole top of the window, that's not acceptable. And like, I went through the whole thing with her, and she wanted me, she's like, they said they'll refund my money if I write a letter. So I wrote her a letter, or should I say ChatGPT helped me write a letter. Just letting them know, like, these are the things I found on these windows. And in my eyes, in my professional opinion, it's not industry standard. Now, I just got a call back yesterday saying they want a header on it with the company name and the person's name at the bottom of it, of who wrote it. And it's like, I want to help my customer. I'm slightly hesitant to do it though, because I'm not trying to make any other company feel like I'm trying to bash your work. I am just seeing the work, and I don't think it's acceptable. It hurts our industry because it might cost you some money. I think it costs our industry money and costs my company money, because now you just put a bad taste in someone's mouth of what the service that was provided, and they just think tint is useless and it can't be done correctly. And it just hurts all of us. But it's, you got to go back and forth with that of how you want to put the information out there. But as long as you're trying to put as much positive out there as possible, I've now found that you get a lot more in return instead of thinking about everybody else. It took me time, but I got there. And now I've realized that I don't think that's ever going to go away.
Well, ultimately, it kind of comes down to, like, I think a big problem in just the overall culture right now. You got people that are leaning towards like fixed mindset and being victims, and people that are like realizing that in order to be in control of anything, you gotta, like, you're the main thing that's wrong, and have a growth mindset. And how can we get better? So as individuals and as a company and as a culture, if you've got a culture like that everybody knows I could be better, and we're going to try to do that every day, you're going to, it'll just separate itself. The person that's not doing that is going to stay right where they are. Yeah. And they're going to stay on those groups, bitching and complaining about how everything in the world's against them, compared to the person that's actively growing and spending money and investing in growing their skills and their abilities. No matter how long you've been doing this, you can get better at it. It kind of goes back to your question earlier about, is he slower now or faster? And it's like, we're not doing a 100-meter sprint. So like, I think the art of it, the skill of it, and picking up more tips and tricks and nuances on different scenarios you can come across over time just builds the skill. So like, even though we're installing less right now, the times that we are having to install right now is typically the really tricky things that our guys still might need some help with. So we're still like sharpening that, like, hey, okay, we get to go do the tricky stuff, and which isn't very much anymore, because our guys can pretty much handle everything. Mm-hmm. But it's just adding more skills and constantly trying to figure out how to teach something better. Like, same thing happens in jiu-jitsu. Like, everybody I know that's a high belt says they got infinitely better once they started teaching full time. Because as you teach something, you get better at it, because you realize the little details that you typically aren't saying out loud. Yeah. You have to if you're teaching somebody else.
When you're learning too from them.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Like, you learn way more from teaching than you do from just doing. Yeah. So that's like the next level to it, is like, all right, if you want to get good, get some good coaching, find out as much as you can, apply it as much as possible, and then that's going to make you better. And then the next step is keep doing that, but then start teaching it, and that's going to make you better. And that never stops. Mm-hmm. Like, and if you have that mindset compared to like, I know it all, I've been doing it for 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, whatever. I know people at every level of that experience that I've met over the years that thinks they're the best ever and won't take any advice. And it's like, all right, let's run into each other 10 years from now and see who's better at this. Because if that's where you're at, I know I don't even need to worry about what you're doing. I'm going to be better.
Yeah, you can never stonewall. There's like always something to learn.
Yeah.
Always growth and change.
Yeah, and especially the products even change. And I mean, paint protection is a giant part of the industry now. You know, when we first started, it didn't exist. And I got certified on paint protection in 2004. You know, it's, 20 something years now since I first put paint protection on a car. And
certified by an Expel instructor through a 3M certification.
Yeah. Yeah. My cert, I need to find it. It was around here at some point. It's literally a 3M certificate, and Expel was the distributor that came and conducted the class. So it was before Expel even existed as a film.
It's hilarious. Like having that, we do need to find that so we can frame it because it's funny.
But that's like, funny. That constantly keeps happening. New types of films come out, new type of window systems come out. The fact that we need to meter windows now because of different low E coatings, and that's different from market to market based off the type of windows that are going in. There's always change happening. So if you're not constantly trying to stay on the leading edge of that, and even just technology of running a business using AI, like people that are afraid of it and are just, in that victim mentality of like AI is going to take everybody's jobs, like pause that for a second. Might be true, but definitely another human being that's learning how to use AI is definitely going to eat your lunch if you're not doing it right now, because the amount of productivity you can add to your business or even just your personal life by playing with it, learning how to use, I use it with my kids. Like literally bedtime stories. It's like really fun because it's still, every time I do it, it's insane to me.
Yeah.
Like I prompted it to give it all my kids' names, the whole family's names, the dogs are even included. I just had one recently that I didn't mention anything about my dog that, we put down in October, but I did stories in the past with my kids where my son was like, can you do a story with your phone? Okay, cool. Do a story for Matthew, make a growth mindset, include all of our family. And I gave it like one or two other little ideas. And because I've already done it in the past, it included our dog as a ghost. It was like,
oh my gosh.
It was,
jeez, it's a little haunting.
No, it every time I do it, it blows my mind. And like, he's like so engaged with sitting there listening to it. And it's like, I mean, it's wild. Like that alone, like really was the one thing that early on broke my brain. I saw like a TikTok on people are using AI the wrong way. Check this out. How many children's book do you have for your kid? Are you sick of reading the same one over and over again? And then the dude gave a quick prompt and boom, he had a children's story. And it was like,
I will say though, going to the Sphere and seeing Aura, the AI robot, is a little freaky. Like I don't mind the ChatGPT stuff. Yeah. Like I can play with that all day, but the robots are a little out there.
Have you seen some of the videos from Tesla recently on theirs? Mm-hmm. They've got some really cool demo videos of those things, like capable of doing a lot of stuff now that they have the AI integration with them. I mean, they've got them sweeping up floors, vacuuming,
flipping.
Like
commercial jobs. Like if you got a big commercial job, and it's like, all right, you're going to work for the next 48 hours straight. It'll be done.
They've got some crazy little clips on their X like videos that they've put out.
Using like wet glazing, just
I mean,
perfect. Like
that's probably not as far as we think it is. Like I think that might be like 10, 15 years away.
I was going to say, give it 10 years though.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll get there.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll definitely get there. But to circle back to the competition with like the slower, faster, like this competition to me, I have dialed in to where I have a exact set. Like last year, you guys threw me a curveball in the finals. I wasn't ready for that. But again, it played into my stronger suit of having to do an extra window, and time didn't change. So it's just like, it changed the way I was going to approach that top window. I was going to pull the rubbers, actually clean them this year because I almost tripped me up the year before. And as soon as it's like, you're doing 2 windows, I'm like, well, that's not happening because I ain't got time for that. But when I go into the preliminary round, like I do the same thing every single time. My table is set before you guys say go. I set everything that I'm allowed to set is set to where as soon as it's go, I'm instantly prepping, cleaning, installing to where my last notion is kicking my toolbox underneath while pushing my pad with all my stuff in it, balling it up into one ball underneath, and the sheet's already there to where I drop it. I try to save as much time in those areas as I possibly can. So if I do have to mess with something, I absolutely can. Already have your tint box away. Why is your tint box out? Especially in flat glass. Like if you have to cut your second pattern, you might as well stop. You're not making it to the finals. I'm sorry, you're not. There's not going to be enough people there that are going to screw up enough. Maybe this year, this might be the one you're like, it's possible. It's because of having to do 3 windows, and I could see it being possible this year. But the previous years, if you were pulling a second window, you're done already. And let alone, you should have already had that pattern cut. If you think that there's a possibility you might have to tint it again, you should have already pulled 2 patterns before you even walked in. As long as that pattern is sitting intact in the box, you don't get knocked for it. You are told that. So it's like, already take all those steps before you even step foot in the competition floor. And when you're able to save yourself that much time, and also you're not running around at the end of the competition, that's usually where a lot of guys trip up, is they forget to put their pad away. I mean, there was a guy last year that they had a smiley face with a broken heart on it. Sal said the window was immaculate, but he left all of his stuff out. And then after he raised his done sign, he went back and touched his stuff. He then started putting stuff away. And that's where he got knocked. And that's pretty sure that's what took him out of the finals. Yeah. Like, it's, for me, the biggest advice, read the rules, know what you can and can't do, and do everything you possibly can do before they say go, just to buy yourself as much time as possible. I mean, the 15-minute crunch was usually a lot tougher than 20 minutes. But, I mean, 15 minutes is still an eternity to tint a window. Like, in the field, most guys are like, if I get in a good groove of windows, I can do commercial windows probably like 6-7 minutes a window. And that's like from start to finish. You know, going from cold just to instantly doing an install, yes, it's a lot different. But I mean, it's one thing I have on my side is the experience. I've now competed in flat glass 8 times. I know what's coming majority. Like, at least I know the feeling of the rush that's going to come. I know how I want to prep and set everything up to where I know I have as much time put aside as possible. Don't dig into the weeds too much of what's wrong with the window. Judges aren't stupid. They know damaged glass. They know damaged rubbers. Like, they understand. As long as you mark previous cut and rubber, throw an arrow. You don't have to sit there and write a novel for them. You're wasting your time on that stuff. But keep it simple and just take those easy steps to begin with. I mean, I wish I literally had videos of me competing probably the last 4 times when I finally dialed that in. I do the same thing every single damn time. Don't change it. It's like, why change it? So
yeah, I hear that a lot too. New competitors will come in and they'll say, oh, I learned this new technique, I'm going to try it. And they're like, don't change what you're doing in the competition. Yeah. Do what you know, stick with it. That's what's going to get you the points.
I'm fairly certain it was Chris Brooks who told me that you need to you're in your shop, you're in a house, treat it like every day. You do this every day for a living. You know you're good at it. Just do your work. You know, get out of your own way. Just do your work. Yes, there's some small little stupid things you're going to have to do that you don't usually do. Commit those to memory. One for me last year was I put a piece of tape on the driver's front door, and I got knocked for not putting a piece of tape on because we did the back door. In my eyes, I should have covered both, but I don't disagree with Chris for the fact that I got knocked for it. So it's because I didn't have the tape on the back window. I didn't put 2 and 2 together until I got done competing and realized, like, oh, I didn't cover the right door. I covered the wrong door. But here's what it is. Yeah. Simple mistakes are going to get made.
I definitely think the feeling comfortable part's important. I know 2022, that was the only year I think I've ever competed where I just felt like no one was there. I was just tinting a window.
That's right. No one was there.
And then 23, I
was there.
I know, but I did change one thing where I put Teflon tape on my card that I normally tuck the rubbers in with. Yeah, and I'd never done that before. And as I did it along my top edge, which I don't think I'd ever actually even tucked before, but I decided I was going to, the Teflon tape was getting cut off the card by the edge of the glass, and it was getting stuck in the frame. So I then, in the middle of doing that, I had to pull that gasket out, get the tape out, put it back in, and start over. And then I just ran out of time. And what I was marked off for was like a finger that popped at the bottom and on the left side. And that was just that extra 2 minutes that I could have dried those edges was probably the difference. Yeah. But that was me changing stuff right there the day of, even though I know not to do that. So yeah, the nerves are always the fun part to me.
Yeah, you got to be, and also you have to be adaptable. Like, get a gauge for what's happening around you if you can. Like finals in 23 in Virginia, when I noticed everyone finished in front of me and there were still 9 minutes left. I'm already finishing last. My time no longer matters. I'm going to milk that 9 minutes. Like, I could have been done already, but I was like, no, I'm all right. I'm going to look at it again, clean the outside of my window. And I was going slow about it too, just because everyone was standing there and they couldn't do anything. So it's like, this is hilarious. I love this.
Time,
It's funny is I was recording it, and in my recording, you can hear me like, okay, people are like done. Like, I'm like, okay, he's the only one left, and he's got tons of time. I hope he doesn't stop till the very end. Like,
Oh, I noticed. I looked around and I saw. I wanted to verify too that everyone's done signs have been held up, and everyone was just standing there with like their arms crossed. And I was like, perfect. I'm gonna take as much time as I possibly can to make sure. Because like I got down, looked up, I saw overspray. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wipe that off real quick. Like. And then even Marcus was like, when I saw you wipe the other side of the glass, I was like, shit. It's just like, that just comes with the experience of doing the competition over and over again. You used to ask me, why are you wiping the outside of the glass? I was like, I'd rather have a clearer picture for the judge. Like, I know they can differentiate the two. They're not stupid. But if they don't have to try to differentiate it, the faster they're going to move on from my window and stop looking at it and then just hopefully mark my score and then just go to the next window. It's small little things like that. But
yeah, time, obviously it's there because we can't spend all day at the competitions, but it only comes into play whenever there's a tie score.
Yeah. So I like it though, the fact that even as it's gotten shorter over the years, the pressure it puts on. One of the judges, I think, said it in 23. It's also a good, because there are business owners that are sending installers there. And the other kind of factor that throws in is like, the faster you can install cleanly, the more profitable you can be as an installer and as a business. So it's like needing to move fast is kind of part of being good in this job. Like if you could put the cleanest window on ever, but if it takes you an entire day to put 25 square feet up, you're not going to make very much money.
Well, to me, that's the next level of an installer. You be a good installer. You can be a good installer, work at like a normal pace, probably do 40, 45 hours a week, and you'll make 60, 70,000 a year when you get to the point where you are at least fast enough to get, say, 200 or 300 square feet done in a day and just keep it the whole day. If you want to get to the point where you're making six figures and above, or some of the guys are making 200 and 250,000 a year, it's because you can hang 1,000 square feet in a day and you know that is going to be a long day. And then you go to sleep, you wake up the next day, you do the same thing over again. And that is the next step in this career path. If you want to get to that point, you can make that money. It's just, you have to be willing to know that I have to get this fast. I have to find the things I can cut out and leave out to make myself faster without hurting my installation. So there is a vast range of installers, from the guys that are just like, yeah, I'm good with making 70,000. I'm good. And then there's people like, I want to make six figures. I want to make high, mid 200s. It's like, that's completely doable too. But you're probably going to be flying from city to city. You're going to be doing mostly probably security jobs, or you're going to be doing jobs where you're going to be put in compromised positions where you're being hung off the roof by scaffolding, or you're being harnessed up. Like, for me, I'm good. I don't need to know any of that. I've been on top of a ladder. That's all I want to do. Boom lift, maybe. Beyond that. Yeah. Some of the things that Marcus is telling me he's had to do, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I don't need to know that. Like, nope. No, thank you. Yeah. But yeah, it's there's definitely multiple layers to an installer, but no, the competitions have always been.
What else is like any kind of announcement you can make here is like an exclusive, anything new or anything
not super
fun
exclusive,
happening?
But yeah, something super fun. The night before, so the same night as the competitor meetings, we're having the opening party sponsored by KDX. So it'll be a 90s party. So come dressed as Justin Timberlake or Tupac, whatever.
I'm gonna tell my son.
It's gonna be fun.
Kids come?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're making.
So that's the night after the rules.
Yeah, so that's Monday night, September 8th.
Yeah, we're for this year we kind of put a super team together in the fact of like some of my subs that have worked with me, that it's like they were asking, or I could see them asking around or trying to get sponsored, and I was like, I'll do it. So the only requisition is you wear my colors. You're gonna be wearing my shirt.
You guys have a whole crew coming in.
Yeah, that's plus awesome. We're bringing the whole shop.
So we're bringing the whole shop too. So we'll shut down. At least one of our sales, inside sales, is going to stay behind. I think our other outside sales might stay behind too. But as for installer wise, we'll be closed that whole week, flying everybody up. And then also, like I said, we're bringing a couple of our subs with us, to where we'll have somebody in every competition, even from rap. We'll have someone in the rap competition, a couple guys in PPF, a couple handful in auto, and then a good amount in flat and then decorative. So really looking forward to that. That should be fun, because I told Eric's designing from Tint I'm having him design the shirts. I'm having Carrie design the shirts. And I told Eric, like, she knows what our company shirts look like. Make them bright, make them stand out. All I care about is my logo being front and center. Make sure Tint is noticeable. Make sure the Solar Guard's noticeable. It's the only things I care about. Like, you don't need any feedback from me. I trust her, because she did this, and it's like, she just sent it over. I was like, perfect, love it. Yeah. Like, everything she designs, I absolutely love. So like, I'm excited to see those. We should be getting those soon. I'm going to get those made, and then we're going to start putting out content of people training and stuff and getting ready for the competition and get that ball rolling. So I'm really excited for that.
I have a few ideas in the hopper, but I want to know from you guys, what's something that you've like always wanted to see in the competitions, whether it's something new, something we haven't done before, or something that we used to do and want to bring back. Like, what's something you guys have wanted to see in any division?
For me, it's always going to be just more content, like impossible, like live streaming or something where people can watch it just more structured and like real time, just for more visibility. That's always like the thing I think there could always be more of.
I mean, even just thinking out the box, like stuff they do at WFR, stuff they do at Tender Battles, like incorporating any of the elements that they have, maybe that we don't.
I think what would be cool is do some type of pop-up, like on really, you could do it in every division, of people being able that are just there, being able to get their hands on and try it. Like, like
a demo.
Yeah. Or like even like a little mini.
Have a little section with 2 cars, or let's say 2 windows, to where you can just, people that, hey, do you want to see what it feels like to compete? We're going to do 15-minute rounds. You just go and just for fun. Yeah. That wouldn't be bad, but you'd have to bar the competitors from doing it though, because they just go there and just like, here, this is the 8th time you've done it. And I'm trying to get my reps in, man.
No, we'd make it different for sure.
Well, it would be cool to do like, hey, we're going to have an open round that anybody that's here that's not already competing in a division can sign up for, whether it's kids, family members, whoever.
Kids would be fun.
And run it like a normal round, and then have that just be like a free-for-all kind of thing would be cool.
I think leading up to the finals, writing the people's score on their window. I love that at WFR. I'm sorry, that's one thing I did love at WFR, is the fact of like, I mean, if anyone, and then make it very strict in the fact that if you say one thing to the judges, if there's any complaining, you are now barred from this competition.
So the only reason I don't like that is that the same reason we were talking about when you're judging different rounds, you don't know what to compare that first round off of. I like the idea of the judges being able to be keeping a tally sheet of what the quality they saw was, and then actually submit their scores after they've seen all of them, rather than being locked into a score that was publicly given on a window early.
Well, they're already locked in though after they hand them in, if I'm not mistaken.
Each round it's already locked in?
Yeah, so they do. They have a score sheet for that entire heat, and then when they're done with that entire heat, it goes to the judge keeper, and those scores are finalized.
Although I know it's a headache for you guys.
Even at then, okay, so all right, so X putting on the window, because I could see where the concern will come from is you are going to get people that are going to complain. Each round being posted of what scores were in that round without any competitors' numbers or anything next to it. Like, this was the scores for this round. So, but at least by the end,
everybody's gonna be like, "Who got the highest score?"
But that's fine though, because by the time you get down to it, I mean, if anything, whoever gets pulled in the last division is going to be looking at the fact of like, all right, I have to do better than this. So it's either going to help them or it's going to make them climb into their head and it's going to destroy them. It'll be all on how they want to interpret it, if they even want to pay attention to it.
That's also an idea we've bounced around, as like posting scores either at the end of each heat or the end of each day. Logistically, it's hard because it would be me doing it.
Yeah.
And, I'm all over the place. But it also takes away, like when we do our finalist announcements, you would already know at that point. So it's not as big of a bang.
If we could move the finalist announcements a little earlier, I know there's a lot going on.
Okay.
Hold on. That was my suggestion of posting the scores, was knowing that itself. I mean, I usually, if I have a chance of getting in, I'm obviously being smart. I go to dinner and then I'm just sitting and waiting. As soon as I see my name, I know, believe me, I agree. But I see the guys that make the finals are like, "Whoa, let's go party!" I'm like,
I know they do.
Sure, this ends up being an edge for the people that are being responsible. And
hey, when I change that around, that's why I've seen more success in competing. Is when I finally actually got in a routine where it's like, I'll go out, I'll have dinner, and then I go back to my room. Like, I'm here at the moment. I'm here to compete. As soon as I know I'm out of the competition, then I'm gonna go have fun. But if I know I have a fighter's chance of being in the finals, like I'm smart about it.
Yeah, but that's why I like the way that it is, because everybody does go out, and it's only a handful of people that make the finals. Everybody else just stays out and has a good night, and that's like good networking and a fun part of like everybody getting together for the reveal at dinner.
That's where I think like why I would enjoy the 3. Being able to compete in 3, because it is. I mean, I would think it's obviously more manageable than like WFR. You compete in everything. Competing in everything, like I can only imagine trying to the logistics of that is a nightmare. So 3 is a little bit more like doable. Is the networking that happens on the floor? Yes, I will see people, but a lot of times, like, I'm just watching someone compete if I have free time because I want to see them compete. Mm-hmm. A lot of the talking and networking for me happens when we go out to dinner, and it's like. Was it Virginia Beach? No, it was actually, take it back. At WFR, I went out by myself. It was in first years in Chattanooga. I flew out last minute. I called Eric from Tint Wiz up and I was like, "Hey, I think I actually want to go compete in this." and he was graciously enough to sponsor me to get me out there. I went out there, I competed, and I was hanging out with Flat Glass Joe. And we were just sitting at the bar downstairs. Then all of a sudden, Dustin Hall was down at the end, Lumar. And he's like, what are you guys doing? We're like, we're probably going to go grab a bite to eat somewhere. We're just kind of try to keep it low. And he's like, join us. It's the first time I've actually went and joined. Like I sat with a bunch of Lumar dealers, which I knew majority of them anyway. But that was the first time that I realized like maybe I do need to make a more concerted effort, not just to say find my manufacturer, go to the other manufacturers and just talk to them. And it's not even like I'm trying to find a new film. Like Lumar knows, like they've never approached me out here. Not to say that they wouldn't necessarily want to or however they're thinking, but I think they already know, like, we're not going to necessarily waste our time, but like, he's Solar Guard. Like he's not coming off. Yeah. He's not coming off Panorama. Like he's very happy where he's at. We're not going to waste our resources there. We'll go over here, which I completely understand. But like not having those conversations about jobs and stuff, like I really don't get to have them. So actually going out, and they were so gracious to take us out with them. It was a very fun night. Met a bunch of cool people and had great conversations. But that's usually what I do.
Like learning from everybody, because all of their salespeople I know from Eastman, they were all taught to install, so they all know what they're selling, which I think is really cool.
Nope. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think that's probably a good spot to wrap up, unless there's some breaking news you want to tell us. No. Okay.
We tried.
It was worth asking. We appreciate you coming out and coming to sit down with us. Like, I'm very excited. It's now starting to get to the point. Obviously, now we have everyone signed up. Like, it's getting real now. It's like, all right. Oh, that's only a couple months away.
Yeah, we're less than 90 days.
Is it really?
Oh wow, yeah. All right. So this will come out way before that. Yeah. If you've never been to WFCT and you're on the West Coast and you can get there. Really not just the West Coast, but if you have the ability to get there, I would get there. This year sounds like it's going to be fun. It's always a good time. There's always huge value. It's been huge for us in our growth in our business and personally as installers, and just our connections in the industry over the years. So even if you're not trying to go compete, which is probably too late for most of the competitions, is there still spots? So you can still
spots. It's had a little scare.
So if you want to compete, come compete. Because honestly, like I think you got to get it out of your way and just do it one time without any expectations. No matter how good you think you are, it's different than just installing day to day. But
go to your manufacturer, express your want to go compete. Majority of the manufacturers will help you out. You have to ask. You can't expect them to come to you. And there are certain scenarios where they will. In my eyes, that's after you've competed for a while. If you ever do win, if a manufacturer's not sending you after you've won, that manufacturer's messing up. That makes no sense. But ask your manufacturer, ask your rep. Definitely go there to network with people. If you can compete, or if you're too afraid to compete, just compete. Yes, it's nerve-wracking, but you got to get the first one out of the way. I get from a lot of people, well, I can't compete with you guys. And it's like, we're just tinners. Like we're all doing the same thing. It's get the first one out of the way. It's a blast. I would definitely strongly recommend, if you're within driving range, definitely come. If anything, if you have the ability to fly in, I would do that too. So
we're September 9th through the 11th at the Reno Sparks Convention Center.
Social media handles?
WFCT event on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook.
Check it out, guys.
Check it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.